Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokul Nanda Radha Gokul Nanda Radha Gokul Nanda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Gokul Nanda Radha Gokul Nanda Radha Gokul Nanda Shri Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman 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 Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand ki, Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gauranitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Gaur. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you once again for coming to the Bhagavad Gita class this evening. Thank you also to the online viewers as well. I can see a lot of familiar faces, so thank you for coming. There are so many of my seniors here, so I seek your blessings, seek blessings of everyone assembled online as well, that I can speak something relevant. I've got no qualification to be sitting here, but yeah, you know, when a service is given to you, you just try, so that's what I'm trying to do, so I seek your blessings. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading today from chapter 4, verse 36. So I'll recite the Sanskrit. I will, and then you can repeat after me. Api chedasi papebhya, asi papebhya, sarvebhya papakritamaha, sarvam jnana plaveneva, vrijinam santirishashi. Api chedashi papebhya, sarvebhya papakritamaha, sarvam jnana plaveneva, vrijinam santirishashi. Api chedashi papebhya, sarvebhya papakritamaha, sarvam jnana plaveneva, vrijinam santirishashi. Would anybody like to try? Okay. Right. So, api, even, chet, if, asi, you are, papebhya, of sinners, sarvebhya, of all, papa krittamaha, the greatest sinner, sarvam, all such sinful reactions, jnana plavena, by the boat of transcendental knowledge, eva, certainly, vrijinam, the ocean of miseries, santarishashi, you will cross completely. Word to word. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Purport. Proper understanding of one's constitutional position in relationship to Krishna is so nice that it can at once lift from the struggle for existence, which goes on in the oceans of nescience. This material world is sometimes regarded as an ocean of nescience and sometimes as a blazing forest. In the ocean, however expert a swimmer one may be, the struggle for existence is very severe. If someone comes forward and lifts the struggling swimmer from the ocean, he is the greatest savior. Perfect knowledge received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the path of liberation. The boat of Krishna consciousness is very simple, but at the same time, the most sublime. So before we start discussing, we'll just do a quick invocation prayer. If you know it, please join along with me. If not, you can fold your hands and meditate. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitan Yena Tashme Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Ramo Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so I think we will keep this session very interactive. And yeah, it'll be nice if all of you can get involved and correct me, guide me along the way. So this purport is very very special to me. If you look at the translation, even if you're considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross the ocean of miseries. So it's very comforting for me to know this. Like even the fallen people can also get this knowledge and purify themselves. So at least I have a chance. When we look at the purport, there are a few points which are which are kind of striking out for me. First one is constitutional position. Second one is struggle for existence, and blazing forest and struggling in the ocean. So we would like to try to meditate on these 4 points. So first of all, what do we understand by constitutional position? Would anybody like to say anything? Yes. So, okay. Just for the online viewers, I'm thinking maybe Mataji, if you can repeat that, if possible. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please. Mataji, it's not on. I think it's.
I was just thinking that if constitutional position may be seen in different ways. For example, we can relate our position within, like, where we are situated, like we're living in a different country, or else we can relate it towards the people we live with, or we can relate to questions like where are we from, who am I, what is my, am I this body, or things like that.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. So constitutional position means the real position, who we are, as you said. So actually, it's our real nature, and sometimes like we think that we have a vision, and whatever we see, we think that's the reality. We don't know anything above and beyond, but actually we know very little. In fact, I can't even see like what's going behind my back. So we have a limited vision. So our constitutional position is to know our real identity, our real nature. And what is our real nature? Is to serve Krishna, because we have a soul inside. And what is the nature of the soul? Is to serve others. When you speak to so many people who come here, like I think in Janmashtami, they had nearly 1,800 volunteers. And when you speak to them, they have been like working for 12 hours or 14 hours. And what are they getting out of it? A lot of satisfaction. Why? Because the eternal nature of the soul is to serve others, like that. So all living entities in all parts of the entire universe are supposed to be eternal servitors of the Supreme Body. So, every part of our body is working together as a whole. Like for example, if we feed our stomach, when we eat food, or prasadam you could say, what happens is all the parts of the body get satisfied. Or, for example, Prabhupada often uses this analogy of a plant. When we root the plants, the whole plant gets nourished. In a similar way, what happens is if we nourish our soul, which is by rendering service to Krishna, rendering devotional service to Krishna, we get satisfied. And that is our real constitutional position. So one of the lectures, I think Prabhupada said in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2.9, Prabhupada said, I think it was recorded on February 21st, I think 1973, something along those lines. Just like a drop of seawater is as good as the seawater in quality, the whole seawater is also salty, and the drop of the water is also salty. Similarly, we have got all the chemical composition or qualities of God. So in quality, we are like Krishna, but not in the quantity. We are like a very minute, as compared to Krishna. So the qualities are there, but the problem is we have been covered by the material energy of the Krishna. And what happens is by doing the devotional service, hopefully, slowly and steadily, those qualities will be recovered. Those qualities will be shown. We will progress in our spiritual path, and we can see a difference in us. And we can, because Krishna is eternal, and we are also eternal. But by doing the devotional service, then slowly and steadily we can come to that platform. But if you say quantity-wise, we are very, very minute. After the destruction of this body, the soul is never destroyed. So, and that is our real constitutional position, that even if the body goes, it's not the end of everything. The soul is transferred to the next body like that. And that is our real constitutional position, that we are part and parcel of Krishna. So there are three modes of nature. One is mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So ignorance is when you are completely ignorant about things. For example, you could say like meat eating, like a lot of people know that meat eating is not good, but they still do it. And that's said to be in the mode of ignorance. Then above that, there's a mode of passion. And mode of passion, I guess, I work in mode of passion most of the time. It's about just like, you're not doing wrong to someone, but you are just running after the material things, Like, for example, usually when we go to work, it's like getting things done, so that you can go home like that. So that is, you could call it's in a mode of passion. And then above that, there's a mode of goodness, which is like charity, doing good for others. Like there are so many charity centers these days, which is amazing. And it comes under the mode of goodness, but there is something which is above the mode of goodness, which is the mode of pure goodness, and it's called as Suddha Sattva. And that is where we want to get up to. Mode of goodness is amazing, and I know there are a lot of people who do a lot of charity, etc., but we want to get to the stage where we are in mode of pure goodness. The reason is because when we get to that stage, mode of pure goodness, that is when the real purification happens. That is when we are kind of working towards Krishna, you could say. We are purifying ourselves like that. Even if we work in the mode of goodness, sometimes people say like, for example, when we go on book distribution, we say, take this book, this will change your life. And they're like, no, don't worry, we already have a deity in the house, we are worshipping Krishna, we always work in mode of goodness, which is perfect. But then again, that is not going to bring us to the highest level. And in order to get to the highest level, we have to work in the level of, in the state of pure goodness. So even if somebody is doing good deeds and they are working in mode of goodness, they still need to come back to the material world to enjoy that karma, because they will accumulate good karma. When you accumulate good karma, you accumulate bad karma, you have to still come back to the material world to enjoy it. And that's why you would see some people, their life, actually nobody's life is perfect. I was going to say their life is perfect. For us, their life is perfect. But actually, nobody's life is perfect, It might seem like it's perfect, but actually it's not. When you ask them, they also have their own problems at their own level. So either you do good or bad, you have to come back to enjoy your good or bad karma. And that's why, some people, their life is perfect, from what we can see, because they have done some good deeds, and they are here to enjoy those good deeds. Some people, they are amazing people, but their life is miserable. The reason is because of the bad karma which have been done in the previous life. Now they are suffering for that, It's as simple as that. But actually, they say, okay, even though we do good or bad, yes, we have to come, but also there is something very, very important, actually. I heard this story where basically there was a king, and he wanted to give a big feast to all the brahmanas. So he invited all the brahmanas to his palace, and his cook made like a very, very nice feast. And while the cook was making the feast, what happened is an eagle was carrying a snake. And what happened, the poison from the snake fell into the pot where the preparations were being made. Now, of course, now the prasadam of food is, is poisonous. And what happened is when the king served the brahmanas, the prasadam, all the brahmanas died. Yeah. So when all the brahmanas died, now Yamadutas came, right? And they were like, okay, who's going to take karma for this? So Yamaduta's associate said, okay, do you know what? Give the karma to the king, because he was the one who organized the feast. But then it's like, no, but it's not his fault. He didn't even know there was a poison. How can you give karma to the king? Okay, then give it to the cook, because cook was the one who made the feast. But cook didn't even know that there is poison in the feast. So that's not fair to give the karma either to the cook or to the king. So who shall we give the karma to? Okay, give it to the eagle, because eagle was carrying the snake. But it was like, but it's eagle's food. Like, it's its nature to eat snake. Okay, so we can't give it to eagle either. Okay, then give it to snake. How can you give it to snake? Snake was the one who was killed. Like, you can't give it to snake either. Now, somebody has to take the karma, right? What shall we do? So basically, Yamadutas were meditating on this, like, who shall we give the karma to? Now, what happened is, in midst of all this, king was so unhappy because, obviously it's not his fault, and he was like, wow, how did that happen? How did this happen? He was like, do you know what? I am so repentful. What I want to do is, this time I want to organize another feast, and this time not only people from the local village, but also I want to invite people from other villages, so that I can ask forgiveness from everyone, that they can forgive me for what I have done. And king said, this time what is going to happen is, I will taste the food first, and then we'll give it to the others. We'll give it to the brahmanas, which is actually not the right etiquette. Usually, the person who is organizing the feast, they should always eat it at the end. But because what happened in the first time, this time king was like, do you know what? I am going to taste the food first, and if something is going to happen, it'll happen to me, and then we can serve it to brahmanas. So, okay, so the day arrived when the feast was organized, and so as there were a lot of people from the other villages, they were coming, and somebody lost their way. So they saw a lady, and they asked her, lady, do you know where is the where is the palace of the king, where the feast is today? And what that lady said, she said in a very joking, funnily way, like, sometimes when you're kind of making fun of others, she's like, oh, that king who killed so many brahmanas last week. And do you know what? Yamduta's like, okay, now we found who to give the karma to. So the lady got the karma. So the gist of the story is, sometimes it's not about our deeds, it's not about what we do, good or bad. Sometimes it's about talking bad about others, or even making fun of others. Like sometimes we know like somebody is going through their own challenges, and we're like, yeah, I know he deserved it, But we are not their judge, judge is the Krishna. So we should never judge anybody, and we should never make any sort of conclusion like, if somebody is struggling with something, we should not make fun of it. We should not have that pleasure, because you don't get on with someone, and if something happens bad to them, you're very happy. No, that's not how it should be. And even that can accumulate karma as well. So yeah. There's another reference where Prabhupada mentioned about the constitutional position, which was in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, from verse 1 to 11. And it was, I think it was a lecture in 1975. And Prabhupada says that will be explained later on, that the goal of our life, at least in this human form of life, the goal of life is to understand our constitutional position, which Shampriya Mataji was saying earlier. What I am, what I am. If we do not understand what I am, then I am equal to the cats and dogs. The dogs, cats, they do not know. They think that they are the body. So yeah, so if we don't understand our constitutional position, if we don't know that we are servant of Krishna, our aim is to serve Krishna, then our life is literally like cats and dogs. Because if you think about it, the humans and animals, mating, sleeping, defending, eating, We all do that, right? It's common between animals and humans. The only difference is consciousness. Animals don't have consciousness. They cannot inquire about who Krishna is, who God is, why we are here. But we can. But if we don't understand our constitutional position, if we don't understand why we are here, then our life is pretty much like cats and dogs. I know it's very strong, but actually, so from what I understand, it's very true. And actually, I think Mark Twain mentioned something very nice, that there are 2 days which are very important in your life: the day you were born, and then the day you find out why. So again, as humans, it's our responsibility, it's our right, to inquire about Krishna, inquire about why we are here. Then there was another lecture, I think Prabhupada, I think it's chapter 2, verse 13, which is a very famous verse. Dehino ismin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyate. So in this way, we are wandering throughout the whole universe. So basically we go from childhood to adulthood to old age, and then what happens at the time of death? The soul is passed on to another body. It takes another, you could say, it accepts another set of clothes like that. So we can clearly see in front of us that's what's happening. If you look at your pictures 10 years back, you can clearly see that you're aging. But actually, we don't think like that. We think like, no, you know what? I've still got a lot of time to, work on myself, and I'm sure. But actually, the time is ticking so quickly, It's going very, very quick. So if we want to again become situated in our constitutional position, then we must understand Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now, what does it mean by again originally situated? Actually, we all have been living with Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna, but we have been with Krishna. But what happened? We wanted to enjoy this material world. We had that desire to enjoy the material world, and therefore we have come to this material world. Now, we are here. We can't do anything about that. Let's make the best use of that bargain. And what we can do is we can understand our constitutional position. And when we understand our constitutional position, we know who we are, why we are here, and when we do the devotional service, then eventually we can go back to Krishna. So it clearly says here, I know I keep reading this again and again, even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners. So a question can come in the mind like, hold on, if you're so sinful, how can you purify yourself? And if you can't purify yourself, how can you get onto the boat of transcendental knowledge? And if you can't get onto the boat of transcendental knowledge, then how you can cross over the ocean of miseries? So, and we will come back to this in a minute. So, I think this is mainly about the constitutional position. Does anybody has any questions or anything they would like to add or correct me? Please feel free. Mataji, I think it's not on. Yeah, there.
I was just trying to comment on animals. We were talking about animals and humans. So I think animals do have consciousness, but their consciousness is limited.
Yes.
Whereas human beings have the power to inquire, which the animals don't. That's why they just eat, sleep, mate, and defend. So we have the power to inquire, Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. So we have we can inquire who we are, what are, we are the soul, but then again, what is our relationship with Krishna? So what is the position of ours? Is we are the servants and He is our eternal master.
Yes.
And how can we find that? We can find all this knowledge through someone. For example, we go to school to learn, and we need a teacher who teaches us. So we need similarly a spiritual guide to teach us also how to identify our position and how to, learn. Sorry, just a little comment.
Yeah, no, amazing, Mataji. The point you mentioned is really good. Yes, exactly like the animals. Of course, they do have some consciousness, but obviously they can't inquire. Now, actually, you mentioned a really good point. I was talking to one of my friends, and she lives in America, and she was telling me that she's got deities in her second floor. and usually they have a dog, so they don't usually let the dog to go to their deity room, because of the cleanliness, etc. But she was saying he just needs an excuse to, because they had Prabhupada chanting on all 24 hours. He just needs an excuse. She was like, as soon as I'm here there, you would see him sitting next to Prabhupada, and he would not touch anything. He would just sit there and listen to the Prabhupada chanting. So you're right. Even animals have got some sort of consciousness, but obviously they can't inquire. Thank you, Mataji, for mentioning it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move on to the next topic. So I mentioned about the constitutional position. We have discussed a lot on constitutional position. And now the next topic we'll discuss is the ocean of nescience. Does anybody know what is nescience? It's knowledge, yes, yeah. You could say science is knowledge and nescience is lack of knowledge. When we don't understand, when we like, Krishna consciousness is like, for example, when devotees approach me first, and I'm like, no, I don't want to read this book, and my professional is related to science, so I always thought like, no, this is religion, this is a part of religion, it has got nothing to do with the science, etc. So what happens? That's a nescience, that's a nescience, because there is lack of that knowledge, and not just lack of knowledge, but there is no even, like, it's not like, okay, do you know what? I don't know about it, but I want to try out. I want to read it. But somehow there's a book of Srila Prabhupada's Science of Self-Realization, and I read that, and I'm like, wow, this is one of the most scientific books I have ever read, So yeah. That is nescience, when you have got lack of knowledge. And the worst thing is when you don't even want to try out. By Krishna's mercy, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, I read the book. If I wouldn't have read the book, I was in that darkness. Okay, so it's lack of knowledge and ignorance, and the true mission in life is to cross the ocean of nescience. That is the barrier. That is what we need to cross. And what is that barrier? Of the cycle of birth and death. We are here, and we all know that we are into the cycle of birth and death, but are we doing anything about that? Probably not, So those in the darkness of ignorance do not know this mission. Instead, being carried away by the waves of material nature, prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha. They are undergoing the tribulations of mrityu samsara vartmani, repeated birth and death. But persons who have achieved knowledge by the association of devotees follow the Mahajanas. Mahajanas means very pious people, like very, very pious people. Such a person always concentrates his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord and executes one or more 9 varieties of devotional services, which is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. Vandanam as well, yes. I think Mataji knows because Mataji does the deity service, so thank you, Mataji. Simply by this process, one can cross the insurmountable ocean of nescience. We see like so many people are kind of changing their bodies in front of us. So many of our friends, family, they go. But we always think like, oh, don't worry, we have got plenty of time to work on. Like, we'll do it later. We'll do it later. But when is that later going to come, They say to you, tomorrow starts from today. If you go to bed on time today, then you're going to wake up tomorrow on time and do your meditation, do your japa, as Srila Prabhupada has always suggested us. So, I think it's mainly about inquiring who we are and how we can stop this cycle of birth and death. And we have been here from long time. And we are not getting, the only problem is we are also not getting fed up, because we are just trying to find some sort of happiness somewhere. But actually, we can't find happiness in this material world. We can find the happiness in this material world only when we serve Krishna. And like earlier I was saying, like, in Janmashtami, there were a lot of people who were here for 12 hours. What are they getting? They're getting that eternal happiness. They are getting the happiness by serving, So that happiness can only come by serving. Now, when you look at like devotees, everybody goes through their own happiness and distress, as I said earlier, because of our karma, good or bad. But what devotees do, for example, if there is something good happens to them, they say like, oh, it's Krishna's mercy. For example, let's say they got a decent job. They are a lawyer or a scientist or a doctor. They say, oh, it's Krishna's mercy, Prabhu. I was talking to somebody a couple of days back, and they're a dentist, and they were like, oh, Prabhu, I don't deserve this, but, it's by Krishna's mercy. And when something bad happens, I have spoken to devotees who have got like problem with their health, etc., and they're like, oh, Prabhu, I was supposed to get more, but because I'm a devotee, because I'm chanting, because I'm reading Prabhupada's books, I think I'm getting very little than what I deserve. So this is how with what Krishna consciousness does, it changes your perception, it changes your mentality. If good happens, that belongs to Krishna. If anything bad happens, that's because of my karma. And still you glorify Krishna. You say like, okay, do you know what? I was supposed to get 100, now I'm getting only 10 because of Krishna's mercy. And that's why if you've seen devotees, even during their later stage of life, even when they're unwell, they have got a lot of issues, bodily issues, etc., they're still in bliss. They're still in bliss. I remember watching video of His Holiness Kadamkara Maharaj, during his last days. He was in ecstasy, A week before, the video Maharaj recorded for everyone. If you hear the pastime Maharaj is narrating, and that clearly shows the consciousness, So again, this knowledge and these books, this is Vedic wisdom, it can connect us to the divine very quickly. Obviously, it will take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But as Prabhupada has, given us a few instructions, one of the main instruction is to chant 16 rounds every day on the bead. Now, we are not asking you to start chanting straight away like 16, but you can try 1, 2, and then go up to 16. Follow 4 regulatory principles, which is no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. And read Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books are transcendental. They can change people's life. I heard a story where somebody was on a train, and I think it's in Germany, but I could be wrong. Somebody was doing book distribution in the train, and they were distributing Bhagavad Gita. Now, this person he didn't like this idea of why are you distributing books in the train? This is you're pushing people to get the books, etc. The standard things people usually say when you go on book distribution. So. And this person, what he did is he pushed this lady out. Now, he did not do in a in a bad way, but he just wanted her to leave. So while he was pushing this lady, what happened is the Bhagavad Gita in her hand has fallen inside the train. And what happened? The doors closed. So basically, now this person has got this Bhagavad Gita on the floor. He was like, do you know what? She was saying so many things about this special book. It's a spiritual book. Let me just take it to my home. So he took it to his home, he put it in his library, and he read it after 20 years when he retired. When he retired, he had some time, he was sitting in his library, and he ended up reading the book, and he became a devotee. So this is how powerful these books are. These books can change people's life, We have seen so many people, don't they say every saint has a past and every sinner has a future, right? And that is that kind of matches with what we are talking today, because doesn't matter what you have done in the past, doesn't matter wherever you are in your life, either you are grahastha, you are single, you are whatever you're doing in your life. What Prabhupada says, just add Krishna. Actually, Mahaprabhu says this, add Krishna to your life. Just keep Krishna in the center of your life. If you have got decent jobs, if you have got money, use that in the service of Krishna. If you got decent car, use that in the service of Krishna. If you have money, then donate it to the temple like that. So whatever we do, we offer that to Krishna, and then what happens? It becomes spiritual. Then it's not anymore it's not considered any more material, because you are using that particular thing, whatever that is, in the service of Krishna. And actually, what to talk about other things? But even when we chant the japa, that's also a service to Krishna. That's why they say your sadhana should be very, very good. That when your sadhana is good, then you can go on the ladder much more easier and quicker as well. So Srila Prabhupada has given us something very, very special. I think it's just about us, how we want to understand this knowledge, And for that, what we have to do, we have to take some time out to read Prabhupada's books. We have to wake up maybe an hour early. Keshav Maharaj often says 5 a.m. club, Instead of 6 o'clock, wake up 5 o'clock, an hour of meditation in the morning, Or read Prabhupada's books before going to bed. Do some service, come to the temple, like Saturdays, Sundays, you can come to the temple. There are so many services. we are so lucky that we are connected to Bhaktivedanta Mana. It's like a real Vaikuntha, it's a very, very beautiful place. And Prabhupada himself said, there is no better place in the world than Bhaktivedanta Mana when the sun is shining. So, we are in a very, very beautiful place. And yeah, whatever capacity we can, if we can serve for 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever that is, I think we should always come to the temple and serve. That should be our main goal of life, serving. And when we serve, what happens is the other things, they will fall in perspective. They will automatically fall in perspective. Okay, so now here, when we look at the purport, it says, proper understanding of one's constitutional position in its relationship to Krishna is so nice that it can at once lift one from the struggle for existence, which goes on in the ocean of nescience, which we have just discussed. This material world is sometimes regarded as an ocean of nescience. Actually, Prabhupada has mentioned this twice, and sometimes as a blazing forest. So why are we calling this place a blazing forest? Any ideas? Why this material world is a blazing forest? I mean, it's quite nice. There's no fire around. I mean, we are happy. We have got food on the plate. Why is there a blazing forest? Mataji, would you like to say anything?
End of the day, everything finishes.
Yes. End of the day, everything finishes. So it's temporary, right? Anyone else?
People also burning with craving aversion.
Yes. Yeah. Mangal Aarti, every morning in all ISKCON temples we sing Mangal Aarti, Samsara Dava Nalini Daloka at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. And what does Dava Nala means? Forest fire. So this material world is like a forest fire. Why? Because there are so much miseries. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? Nothing is like decided, everything is like up in the air. But what we are trying to do is we are trying to kind of enjoy as much as we can. We are trying to extract as much as we can. But actually, it's not a place to enjoy. It's not our place. We belong to Krishna. We are eternal. And our aim is to go back to Krishna. Somehow we have fallen here. But now our main aim is how to purify ourselves, how to go back to Krishna. So, with the forest fire, the similarity which Prabhupada gives is, in the forest fire, nobody knows how it started. Nobody knows how it's going to end. Nobody knows what destruction it can make. So a few years back, there was a fire in Australia, and they could not depict like how long it's going to last because they have no idea. There are so many factors it depends on. So material world is also like that, blazing forest. We don't know how long we are here for. We don't know what's going to come to us tomorrow. We don't know there are so many problems. There are so many miseries there. But actually what we are doing is because our consciousness is not purified, we are just trying to find some sort of temporary solution. Like, oh, you know what? I'll do this and I'll get this back. I'll do this. And then what happens? If we make a plan and it doesn't go according to how we think, what happens? We get frustrated. We get frustrated. Sometimes it can really cause a lot of problems, mental problems, health problems, etc., because we are so much attached to our results. But actually, when we think about Krishna is the controller, not us, So yes, we have to do endeavor. For example, Prabhupada never said don't go to the universities, don't do this, don't do that. Prabhupada said, you do whatever you like, I mean, do what you are doing. For example, if you want to go to university, and actually Prabhupada, in fact, encouraged education a lot, but also it has to be done because these days the modern education is not actually to the right standards, Even at a very young age, you get... let's put it this way: the spiritual knowledge is not given to kids these days in the school. So Prabhupada always said, you can do, for example, go to the best uni or go to do the best job, but use your skills, whatever you have. If you have money, use in the service of Krishna. If you have, I don't know, maybe let's say if you are very good at presenting, then present Bhagavad Gita to people. Like we have got so many senior Vaishnavas here, senior monks who do amazing presentation. For example, recently Keshav Maharaj was in America. He was doing university preaching, giving absolutely amazing lectures, answering question and answers. So whatever you have, whatever qualities you have, you use them in the service of Krishna, which is something very, very important. Okay, so we'll touch on the, actually we only got 10 minutes left, and I do want to finish on time because the Aarti will start at 7 o'clock. Then the last point is struggling in the ocean. So we all are struggling in this ocean, right? And here it says, let's say, even if there is an expert swimmer, sometimes they get drowned. You would have heard, like, those swimmers were like in that ocean and then they got drowned. And they were expert swimmers who have like swam before, like, let's say maybe, I don't know, maybe 100 of miles or something like that. Even they can get drowned, right? So if someone is struggling, if there is an expert swimmer and he is struggling for existence, if someone comes forward and lifts the struggling swimmer from the ocean, that is, he is the greatest savior. Now, how is the greatest savior? Because he has saved somebody's life, right? In a similar way, the perfect knowledge received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the path of liberation. So what happens is we all are trying to swim in the ocean. We all are trying our best to swim in the ocean. But actually, how long can we do this? How long? 5 years, 10 years? How long? We are already tired. If you think anyone you talk to, everybody has got their own issues. Everybody has got their own problems, and they want to end those problems. And they are even trying to end those problems. But this material world is full of misery, it's full of misery. As they say, birth, death, old age, and disease. It has to come, it is a part of the package. Maybe not, okay, old age, maybe not in everybody's case, but in most of the cases, old age as well. So what is our boat? So we are also struggling in this ocean, in the ocean of nescience. What is our boat? Our boat is Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada has given us that knowledge. Srila Prabhupada has given us that understanding about how to love Krishna. If you look at Bhagavad Gita is divided into three parts. Three parts. Chapter 1 to 6 is how to live. Chapter 7 to chapter 12 is how to love. And chapter 13 to chapter 18 is how to leave. So it's a beautiful way of explaining, like, you live, obviously, and then you love everyone around us, you serve, and then how you peacefully leave, So if we hold on to Prabhupada's feet, if we chant, whatever rounds you can chant. Actually, next Saturday, I think, is the Kartik starts, right? Yeah, next Saturday, Kartik starts. So let's say if you guys are not chanting, please do chant, start chanting maybe 1 round or 2 rounds. They say in Kartik, if you do anything you do, it's multiplied by 1,000 times. So if you're chanting 1 round in Kartik, it's equivalent to 1,000 times. So yeah, start maybe chanting, start doing some services. If you would like to help, like, we need people in Goshala, cleaning, all sorts of things, School of Bhakti. There are so many services you can do here. Go to the reception, inquire with them, start doing some service, Every evening they will be offering a lamp. If you
4 times actually. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, 5:30, and 7 o'clock in the evening.
the
4 times.
lamp will be offered, Mataji? Okay. Sure. Yeah, so I saw somewhere it will be 4:30 to 7:30. You can come anytime, right? Yes. Yeah, and in the morning as well. Oh, yes, Mataji, I saw that. Yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah, so whatever you can do, like, in this special month, that will really help you to kind of develop that connection to the divinity. And then you will feel it. Like sometimes people say, like, you say Bhagavad Gita as it is. How do you know it's as it is? I mean, obviously, it's been verified, etc. But if you look at it, there are 108 monasteries like this, all over the world. When Prabhupada came here, Prabhupada came to the West at the age of 69. And Prabhupada had 2 heart attacks on the way. Prabhupada didn't came in a cruise ship, Iona, or in a beautiful cabin. He literally came in a cargo ship where there was no facility, etc. And Prabhupada had 2 heart attacks on the way. Why? Prabhupada wanted to come here to give this knowledge because his Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, the second picture on the left, he gave him instruction when Prabhupada was, I think, 24 years old to take this knowledge to the Western world. And Prabhupada did that at the age of 70. So when we have this knowledge, we understand who Krishna is. And you can see, like, millions of souls have been purified. There are millions of people who are following Krishna consciousness, who are following Srila Prabhupada. And it is making wonders. It's changing the whole society, actually. Vegetarianism. Why vegetarianism is so common in the Western world? Because of Srila Prabhupada. You know, there's so many vegan, vegetarian books. And some of my Western friends, they come here and they say like, oh, you know, not sure about other things, but really like your concept of vegetarianism. So it doesn't matter, like wherever they are, you know, as long as they are following something, like if you can become a vegetarian, or I don't know, maybe if you can start chanting, or maybe if you can start doing the service, that's still an upgrade. So whatever you can try to do in the special month of Kartik, that would be amazing. I think I've spoken too much. So yeah, just to kind of summarize, even if somebody is very, very sinful, you know, very, very sinful, when they do the devotional service, when they do chanting, their heart gets purified eventually, you know. And then what happens? Once they get purified, they understand their constitutional position. They understand that this material world is an ocean of nescience. And we need to come out come out of this blazing forest. You know, we somehow have to come out of this blazing forest. And then when you serve Krishna, and when you understand that Krishna is the controller of everything, we are just here for like, okay, you know, we need to do the endeavor, we can try, but at the end of the day, it's up to Krishna what he wants to do. And anything good or bad happens, we accept that as a mercy of Krishna, you know, like as most devotees do. So doesn't matter how sinful somebody is, they can get purified. Once they get purified, then they can understand that transcendental knowledge. And once they understand the transcendental knowledge, then they can come out of the ocean of miseries. So I'll stop here. We have got 5 minutes. Any questions? Anybody want to say anything, or any comments, any reflections, please? Wow, no questions. Amazing. You made my job easier. Right. Okay. So if there are no questions, so we'll finish it here. We got 5 minutes before the curtain opens. Thank you so much again for attending the class today. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. I'll take this. Thank you.
Where can I keep this? Very nice class. Yes, it was very nice. You should be sitting there. No, not at all. No.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Aarti is going to start in a moment. If you'd like to stand up, please. मेरे पास password नहीं है। श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की, श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री श्री गौरानिधाय की। जय जय गौराचंदे, आरती को शोभा। आरती को शोभा। जानवी ताता माने जगा मन लोभा। Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradhara Basi Ache Gorachan Ratna Simhasani आरती कोरेना ब्रह्मा आदि देवताने नरा हरि आदि कोरे चमर दुलाया संजया मुकुंद वासुदेव